Ever since I came back from my first trip in Japan and was able to observe all of the styles, all of the fashions, the brands, and just experience this whole new world of menswear that I had never really been able to experience firsthand before, it has personally made me more excited about men's fashion than I ever have been before, to be honest with you. 2025 is one of the funnest years for menswear in my opinion, and while I was over there, I was able to visit a lot of different specialty shops as well as specialty brands. And there were quite a few of these shops that sold these amazing men's fashion magazines for super cheap. And unlike in the US, where there are very few menswear and men's fashion magazines, in Japan there are quite a lot of them. Now, all of that exposure coupled with the knowledge of Japanese men's fashion magazines that I learned about in fashion school, I was able to really narrow down what my favorites are and kind of break them into different categories that serve different styles, different purposes, and they all have their own unique, very distinct look, as well as their own distinct feel. One of the most popular publications from Japan for fashion in general is POPEYE Magazine, and POPEYE Magazine actually was started towards the end of the 70s and really started getting popular towards the mid-80s, and essentially it started off as a magazine for Japanese streetwear enthusiasts, and it helped kind of introduce the idea of Americana. It helped introduce the idea of streetwear, of expressive fashions, of bright bold colors mixed with loose tailored silhouettes, and from then on began to expand its offering and began to expand its style, its looks, into something a lot more urban, a lot more street, hence their phrase that they love to say, it's a magazine for city boys, which it really lets you know that. It has this real distinct, almost kind of gritty-ish feel, especially the older POPEYE magazines. I mean, these were really cool. It feels a little more refined now than what it used to be, but POPEYE has gone through such an evolution, and essentially from what I understand, POPEYE was started by the editors when they first went to California, and they kind of studied the fashions, the look, the feel, the lifestyle of that Western Americana way of life, and they were inspired to make this magazine and kind of blend it and mesh it together with their own Japanese feel, which made the POPEYE that we know to this day. POPEYE Magazine is one of the most renowned gems when it comes to men's fashion publications, so much so that even in fashion school they're literally given to us to use for inspiration and to use when learning how to illustrate garments and learning how to style and all different types of stuff, which is why POPEYE Magazine is one of my first loves when it comes to magazines and fashion publications. Another very popular publication for Japanese men's fashion, which you probably wouldn't know about unless you're in the heritage scene, and if you are in the heritage scene, you've absolutely heard of it. The magazine itself is Clutch Magazine, which is a magazine that is dedicated to vintage American workwear, to that real Americana aesthetic, that real Western feel, while also maintaining a little bit of that Japanese artisanal excellence to it. I mean, this is a true heritage nerd, vintage nerds magazine. What I love about Clutch Magazine, especially the issue that I have here, is they actually go and speak to artisanal craftsmen, they speak to vintage collectors, they speak to people who have been in the fashion industry in Japan for a very long time, and they interview them, they ask them questions, and these professionals, these artisans give really well thought out answers that give you a deeper connection to fashion that goes beyond the garment, that goes beyond styling. And this is a great magazine or publication for any denim head, any leather head, any vintage workwear style garment lover, anything of that sort, and wants a little bit more of that fun kind of spin on heritage style Americana. And believe it or not, there is a store in England called Clutch Cafe, which was started, I believe, by one of the editors of Clutch Magazine, where not only do they sell physical copies of these magazines that can be shipped most places in the world, if I'm not mistaken, but they also carry some of the finest menswear goods in the world. They're a fantastic retailer that has a lot of these heritage style garments that mirror what's being shown in the magazine, and it all goes back to support the publication, to support the brand, and to spread the knowledge and spread the love of Japanese artisanal made men's fashion. And they also have their own in-house brand called Aleval, which is a brand that I love particularly, especially their t-shirts. I really love their t-shirts. And this is just another way that you're able to connect with a fashion publication and connect with the culture of fashion, and gives you a different avenue and a different road to kind of cultivate your own style. Clutch Magazine was started in 2012 by A, published Publishing, although I believe the ownership of Clutch Magazine changed from A Publishing to somewhere else in 2021. It's a little complicated, but at the end of the day, it's still a great magazine. It is something you should definitely check out if you're a denim lover, if you're a motorcycle lover, if you're a leather jacket lover, or just a lover of vintage goods in general. Next up, we got a real interesting menswear and men's fashion magazine, and believe it or not, Clutch Cafe actually is a spin-off of this magazine that we're about to talk about. This magazine is called Lightning Magazine, which is pretty difficult to find in America. You can find Clutch and Popeye in certain specialty shops if you're willing to do the search, but Lightning is one of the more difficult magazines to get. I love Lightning because it doesn't just cover fashion, it also covers things like food, it covers things like lifestyle, it covers things like cars, watches, accessories. It covers a lot in this magazine, and most recently I got their Made in the USA edition magazine, which comes at a great time because the whole tariff scare and the whole situation right now is going on, and it couldn't have been a better time to drop a magazine like this. And this is just one example of the true Western and American love and passion that Lightning Magazine encompasses. Lightning Magazine basically is the American lifestyle magazine through the Japanese lens, which kind of helps refine it. It kind of helps romanticize it, and it definitely educates. And you can see the inspiration in Clutch Magazine when you actually look at the Lightning Magazine and see where all of this stemmed from. Granted, Clutch Magazine is a lot more fashion focused. Lightning Magazine is a little bit more of a mix of everything, but it does have a lot of interesting styling, and it does take a bit of a different approach when it comes to styling and heritage menswear and fashion in general, as opposed to the spin-off Clutch Magazine, which is not so much story driven, but more so style driven. Lightning Magazine gives a little bit more of a story, which is cool. I like Lightning Magazine, but I also like the focus of Clutch if you wanted a little bit more of that focus on fashion. But either way, Lightning Magazine is also a great resource if you could pick one of these up, because not only are they rare in America, but they do take a little bit of a different approach when it comes to styling and fashion. Next up is a magazine that I didn't really know about until I went to Japan, and the magazine in question is Men's Nonno. And this is a real interesting magazine because Men's Nonno only exists because the original Nonno magazine is actually a women's-centric and women's-driven magazine, and this is the counterpart. This is the men's-centric magazine for the Nonno publication, and this one is a lot different from the other three that we just covered because Men's Nonno magazine is a little bit more refined. It's a little bit more European, I would say. It's a little bit more of a mix of Parisian, English, and Italian styles as opposed to American. And you can definitely see that not just from the presentation of the magazines, but also the brands that they cover. They cover brands like Dolce & Gabbana, Prada, sometimes Brioni, I believe I've seen, but you know, a lot of higher haute couture fashion brands. And their styling is definitely a lot more Parisian. It's a lot more Milanese, if you can say that. I mean, we're talking big, flowy, very loose, unstructured silhouettes as opposed to the American rugged, structured styles like denims and leathers and stuff like that. This is a little bit more about the wool gabardines. This is a little bit more about the lightweight linens. This is a little bit more about the silk blends, a little bit more of the suit and tie, oversized raincoat kind of looks. I mean, stuff like that. And this is really cool if you wanted to get a little bit more into that European fashion. And I love the way that they take a little bit of the Japanese excellence and styling eye, and they impart that perspective on the styling, even though it's a magazine dedicated to European styles. I mean, the blend of styling with European fashion and Japanese eye is just something to me that's unmatched. I mean, you can learn so much from Men's Nonno. I've never seen this outside of select specialty shops and shops in Japan. You might have to go on a little bit of a deep dive to get these, but trust me, it's worth it. I love these. Maybe you can get a digital subscription somewhere. I mean, I definitely think it's worth it. I personally love Men's Nonno because it blends all of my favorite things together into one neat little package. So definitely check out Men's Nonno if you can. Now, last we've got Second Magazine, and I love Second Magazine because this is a magazine that is dedicated to IV prep. I love IV prep, and I've also loved it a lot since I was a kid. I mean, prep has essentially always been a part of my own style. It's the base for my style. Ivy prep has always been a part of my life, and this magazine is inspired by the American collegiate students that used to wear this type of stuff. And what the Japanese do for Second Magazine is they turn it into everyday, easily wearable styles that you can essentially use the Ivy prep kind of silhouette, that whole look, that whole aesthetic, and kind of hone it into something that works for the everyday man. This was a publication that began in 2007, which in my opinion was when the culture was kind of starting to sway back towards tailoring, albeit at a slower pace, because at that time content really didn't move as fast as it does now. But I think that Second Magazine was definitely one of those driving factors that helped popularize this entire movement that we're going through right now. Second Magazine is full of nostalgia, and it's full of garments that are made of quality. It's also, again, packed with a bunch of artisanal craftsmen and fashion historians, experts, and it's just a great storytelling tool when it comes to fashion for the Ivy prep aficionado, for the guy who really enjoys dressing up and being clean, feeling proper, albeit remaining everyday casual. And that's just something that I love. I really enjoy Second Magazine, and I like this edition that is solely dedicated to loafers. I mean, I love me a loafer. I wear loafers almost every day. And this is just one example of the many editions that Second Magazine has where it's completely dedicated to Ivy fashion and does such a fantastic job at selling the look. This is also another A publication, and Clutch Magazine, Second Magazine, and Lightning essentially stem from the same lifeblood, but they kind of broken off into their own subcategories of style, and they're great resources, honestly. I love them. But even if you take a look at these, you should definitely also take a look at Men's Nonno and POPEYE Magazine, which again is one of the magazines that we used when we were in fashion school. It was such a huge part in the learning process when it came to styling, drape, silhouette, and fashion illustration. So definitely check out POPEYE Magazine, check out Men's Nonno, and check out all of the other A publications such as Clutch Magazine, Lightning, Second Magazine. I love them all. This was such a great treat to be exposed to while I was in Japan. And granted, these aren't the only ones that are available. These just happen to be my personal favorites. I mean, they also have Hail Mary, which feels a little bit more like Clutch Magazine. They have other magazines too, but these were just the ones that I gravitated towards the most. So definitely check them out. I'm gonna try and find links to where you can get physicals or you can get a digital subscription. If you guys are in New York, most of these are actually available in Kinokuniya, so you can definitely check that out if you have one of those near you. But other than that, hopefully the descriptions will help you guys find these magazines for yourself. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really love and appreciate y'all so much. And if you made it to the end of the video, I love you especially. And I have a really special announcement to make. I wasn't going to do this until the project was 100% done, but something tells me that I just need to speak it into existence, and I just need to have faith that it's gonna work, and I just need to have faith in myself. So I want to announce that in the coming months, I am going to be releasing my own men's fashion magazine. I am working on it now. I've never made a publication like this before. I've never done anything like this before, but a lot of you guys have expressed so much love and support and always ask me, how can I donate to the channel? How can I donate to your TikTok? How can I donate to your YouTube? I actually have all of my donations off because, guys, I don't really feel like I deserve it. I want to give you guys something back. I've always wanted to give you guys something back. So I thought that the best idea would be to, if you guys wanted to donate something to me, I want to give something back to you guys. So I think a fashion magazine is one of the best ways to do that. I'm gonna try my best to make physical copies. At the very least, it will be available digitally, and I'm excited to be able to finally say that I'm gonna start my own magazine, dude. I'm not gonna say the name of it yet because it's only halfway done. I'm still editing it out, but a couple of stores across New York City and a couple of stores in Japan all expressed interest and want to carry it. So I mean, dude, it's gonna be so much fun because this is gonna be something for the people, something for the community, something for us. And it's not gonna be some bullshit magazine that is gonna reach out to all these brands and say, hey, do you wanna be featured? Well, it's gonna cost you $4,000. It's gonna cost you $5,000. You don't always have to do that to these brands, especially smaller brands. And most of the smaller brands are my friends as opposed to just a business relationship. And I don't wanna do that to my friends. I think we can all grow together. And like I said, I don't feel like I'm worthy of you guys' donations for nothing. I want to give you something in return. So definitely stay tuned for that men's fashion magazine. If you guys want me to document how I'm kind of going through this whole thing, how I'm learning the process of designing a magazine, laying it out, visiting publication houses, if you guys are interested in that type of content, definitely let me know. As I always say, we're shaping this channel together. We're doing this together, and your feedback is super important and it always helps me grow. So definitely let me know if you guys want to see that. Let me know if you guys have any ideas for the magazine. Let me know if you know of any print houses in New York. I am so excited to get this done. So with that being said, guys, thank you for everything. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so excited for this, and I can't wait to finally be on camera and tell you guys it's finally dropped. Speaking it into existence. We're wishing nothing but good vibes on that. But anyways, guys, thank you again, and I'll see you next week.